and welcome to the May edition of Pitch Perfect, FrontFundr's monthly online pitch event. Once a month, we invite the companies running campaigns on our platform to come and tell us a little bit more about their mission, their motivation, and what they'll do with the money that they raise. We have 5 companies with us today. We'll be kicking off with Gravvity, then Forge&Foster, ChaiEasy, Hitch Brewing, and Cannibble. Each company will have 12 minutes in the limelight, so they'll give us a short pitch followed by a Q&A session. So make sure that you send your questions in throughout and we'll cover them as we go. So we're going to hear from 5 awesome companies. We've got an hour to do it. I'm really excited. Let's go. I'm going to hand over to Jerry from Gravvity. Jerry, whenever you're ready, let's go.
So hi, everyone. I'm Jerry Chen, CEO of Gravvity, and we make social media healthier and more empowering for 3.8 billion users. Let's get started with our team. Jason has crushed it at Spotify, Snapchat, and Twitter. Anya's a data governance and security expert. Fulvio's recognized as one of Canada's top CTOs. Ash is growth hack for some of the world's largest consumer and tech companies. And I've been a senior executive in finance, insurance, and tech, and built the world's first billion-dollar insurance program for cryptocurrencies. We just launched our equity crowdfund on FrontFundr and raised $715,000 to date. Our initial target was to reach $750,000. And of course, our goal today is to convince you to join our investor community. Social media apps are addictive, and they're loaded with features and content that's impacting our mental health. Over 220 million people are addicted to social media, and 38% of social media users believe it's harming their mental health. Gravvity is reimagining what social media would look like if it was truly designed to empower users, not exploit them. And we're transforming mindless scrolling into mindful social engagement. Gravvity is a community that empowers social wellness and is a chat and social platform where you have total control over the content you consume and how you consume it. This means no more spam and clutter, and no more algorithms manipulating your emotions, thoughts, and actions. We've also eliminated likes, comments, and follower accounts that mess with your mental health, and instead, post reactions are made privately via chat. And what really makes Gravvity unique is that you'll be rewarded for every post you make that's upvoted by the community, no matter the size of your influence. Social apps make $100 billion annually on ads, spamming users with thousands of impressions a day. With Gravvity, users have total control over ads appearing in their feed. In fact, users can block all ads completely, but users who opt in to seeing ads can control the type and number of ads they see. And what really makes this special is that Gravvity shares 50% of its ad profits with our users. If an active user opts in to see 10 ads per day, 10 million users translates into 36 billion ad spaces. At 50 cents per ad, that equals $18 billion of ad inventory that we can monetize annually. Now, the question we get asked most is, how do you reach critical mass when it comes to content? Well, when users sign up, they're immediately incentivized to earn rewards through healthy, fun content creation challenges. And new challenges are offered every day. Through these challenges, we're able to continuously curate content that enriches the community. Our beta launch is set for May 31st, and our original goal was to sign up 10,000 waitlist users. However, with just 1 week of advertising, we blew past this goal and hit 20,000 signups. Our current seed round will extend our runway 12 months, where we will achieve the following: grow our user base 50% month over month to reach 1 million users, and onboard 500 monthly business subscribers advertising on Gravvity. This will put us in a perfect position for our Series A, which will enable us to grow 30% month over month, reaching 25,000 business subscribers and $150 million in annual revenue by Q3 2023. Ultimately, Gravvity is creating a healthier and more empowering way for the world to be connected. Thank you so much for your interest, and you can take a picture of this QR code, which will take you directly to our investor page. Thanks again.
Fantastic pitch. Thank you very much, Jerry. And awesome touch with the QR code. I've not seen that one done before. Really nice. Can you tell me a little bit more about where the idea for Gravvity came from? Was it like a light bulb moment? I don't know, you were sitting in bed one night and you thought, this is it? Or was it the development of multiple things coming together?
Yeah, I mean, it's been something that definitely from working with different corporations and different companies throughout my career, realizing the power that data represents for people, that is really an untapped area where people take for granted the value that their data and the access to data they can have, that they take it for granted. And, you know, I think that that's the one thing that we really sort of want to empower users with, is the ability to control that data of theirs and also just to be able to access data more clearly. Right now, the social apps really are exploiting people for their data and their attention. And it's just something that we truly believe is a big issue that we need to help solve.
Are there any other platforms doing something similar to Gravvity, or is it a one of a kind?
Well, definitely nothing that's gone mainstream. I think if you look at all the big platforms, they all have the same business model. The business model really is to figure out how do you pump as many ads as possible into a person's feed, and how do you basically program your algorithms in a way in which it keeps people glued to their screens and to their apps as long as possible. So there is no platform that is actually built towards empowering users in such a way in which they have total control over the content they're consuming, but more importantly, and then again, sharing the profits, ad profits with the users in a way that truly empowers people.
And I think that's a really interesting or kind of novel way to do it, empowering the users and sharing the profits with them. You mentioned that there's content creation challenges that Gravvity users will have. Could you share a few more examples of what those are and what they might look like, and how you're going to engage users that way?
Yeah, so these content creation challenges, if anybody who's been on TikTok, you would have experienced the fact that you have these people that are obviously copying other people's dances or songs or other types of content. And there's all these different things that people are doing. But currently, I would say that what happens is that you're able to actually create this content, blast it out to your network, and you might get some likes, but you actually don't get rewarded for those likes. You get some popularity, but you don't actually get any financial incentive associated with that. With Gravvity, you actually have the opportunity to earn rewards for every single content that you post, as long as it sort of aligns and is upvoted by our community. So if a user who actually consumes your data or sees your data says, hey, that was enriched my experience, and they give you an upvote, you basically get a reward based on that. So the content creation challenges is not just about content creation, actually. It's challenges that we'll be able to give the community in general, to whether it's to enforce or help reinforce healthy behavior or wellness behaviors or things like that. They can also be able to, once again, post things that are trending within the community. So there's a bunch of things that we'll be able to sort of curate to help perpetuate sort of like the community's interests, if you would, and to create, in a sense that we're obviously trying to create a healthier and more empowering space for people to socialize in.
And have you had any response on what you're trying to do from, let's call them like the big four social media giants? Do they see it as something complementary? Are you positioning yourselves more as kind of an alternative or a threat, or how do those things slot together?
Yeah, I mean, I like to think of us as being social media 2.0, if you would. Maybe get rid of the word media and just call it social empowerment, social wellness. I think we have a platform that is fundamentally different in the way it's been built, which is truly about empowering people. So I think that, of course, you look at it on surf and you say, okay, it's about social connections. But I don't think those platforms are about social connections as much as it is now about ads and commerce and trying to, once again, from their perspective, exploit and manipulate you to be able to generate profits as much as they possibly can. So through that lens, I'm not really thinking about the big four platforms really being sort of, our quote unquote competitors. I think it's, hopefully we can position ourselves as being something completely different because it's built from the ground up to be foundationally different.
I think the rebranding it social wellness would be a really good idea. I really like that approach, and as you say, maybe dropping the media side of it and that kind of somewhat exploitative angle. And clearly it resonates with a lot of other people as well, because you mentioned, I think you had a goal of getting 10,000 people to join your wait list, and within a week you had 20,000, which is amazing. I mean, did that response surprise you in any way?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You never know when you go to market and you put your advertising out there and you put the marketing campaigns together. But what's amazing is that more than half of our 20,000 came from countries that we didn't even advertise in. So it got picked up in Brazil, in Singapore, and all these different places around the world where they were very conscious about the issues that with how social media is impacting people's mental health and all these issues. So that's an amazing part that we didn't expect. Like, we didn't expect this virality to really occur even at this early stage. I think that definitely our platform is built for virality in a sense, because it is a chat platform and you need to have your network on in order to chat sort of, effectively. But we didn't expect it with our cause to have such a rippling impact, even with just the initial sort of advertising that we did do into the marketplace.
No, it's fantastic. It's awesome. It's really exciting. And you mentioned your beta launch is scheduled for the end of May. How are you planning or hoping to capitalize on all this demand? Because there's clearly a market for what you do, and you're going to go live then. Sort of talk me through a little bit what the next, let's say, 6-12 months look like from the Gravvity perspective.
Yeah, so our beta launch is set for May 31st, and the first version of our app is going to be a full feature video voice chat app, similar to, say, WhatsApp. Obviously, we've reimagined the whole entire chat experience to make it cleaner, fresher, not archaic like the way WhatsApp and Telegram and Signal look. In the beginning, obviously, it's meant to really be a product that obviously is meant to galvanize the community, in which the community can get involved and really provide, their input and their insights into how we can make the best damn chat in the whole entire world. Like that's the vision for it. And over time, over weeks and months as we go along, we'll be adding a bunch of features along the way that we have planned, ultimately culminating in the addition of the feed and also in the addition of the advertising sort of engine that goes along with it. We expect that process to take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to be able to fully integrate the feed component of it. But in the meantime, our goal really is at this point, not so much product focused as it is community focused. I think we have this really powerful vision for the community that we want to sort of foster and help grow. And I think our community is desperate to really pitch in and find a way to be heard and to be able to shape this in a way in which the world can have a healthier way of being connected. So our focus will be on community building. We'll be listening to our users and obviously iterating our product as we go along to really galvanize the community and grow it in an exponential way going forward.
100%. I think you guys are destined for great things, and I'm really excited to see what you do next. One question before we wrap up and jump on to the next company is, what would you say to people tuning in today? Why should they make an investment in Gravvity?
Yeah, I mean, I think that not only do we have a good social cause, we are fundamentally changing the way in which the whole social platforms are being monetized, in a sense. Right now, what people don't really know is that, we talk about users being exploited by, these platforms all the time. But which people don't really realize is that businesses are being just as much taken advantage of with these platforms. A lot of the businesses are paying for ad placements into people's feeds that the actual platforms already know won't resonate, but they're going to count it as an impression anyways. And they'll send multiple messages over to users over and over again, even though they know that that's not going to resonate, as long as they can check the box and basically charge that business for an impression. So we're actually democratizing the advertising model 100% completely, which is, once again, something that is probably not as well known to consumers, but definitely in the business world. Small to medium-sized businesses have almost a virtually impossible time to reach customers through social media. It's just very difficult to do so. It's complicated and it's also very expensive, and you're competing against big brands for people's attention. In our model, we actually create this very cool ability for the businesses to actually engage users who are willing to engage with them in a mutual sort of like engagement that allows businesses to throttle and see the engagement on a very individual, unique level. And that's, once again, not something that's available as well. So I think by making it easy for businesses to advertise on Gravvity, that's just the first step of where we're going. But ultimately, our goal is to get, as we said earlier in our pitch, our goal is to get to $150 million by 2023. And with a 10 times multiple, that puts us into unicorn territory. So obviously, we hope that everyone will be able to participate in terms of being part of our community and helping us, and hoping that they'll be able to enjoy in our success as we go forward.
So thank you, everyone. I'm Joe Accardi. I'm the CEO of Forge&Foster. We are a commercial real estate company. We focus on the research first to find the fastest growing markets in Canada, and we invest in commercial real estate based after that. We're located in Hamilton, Ontario, and luckily for us, the GTHA, the Greater Toronto Hamilton area, has the most skyscrapers going up in the past 5 years in the US and Canada. So we're definitely in a high growth region, and we specialize in investing in the knowledge economy. So here we have an investment we think is right heart in the knowledge economy. If you've ever heard the word Hamilton, you might have heard the art crawl and the James Street North District, which is the center of all creative activities. It's my belief that in the next 10 years, the creative industry is going to explode in Hamilton, and this urban area is going to explode as well. So we're happy to work with democratizing commercial real estate to bring towards what I believe is a phenomenal asset that is going to benefit from that growth. In terms of what we're going to do to this beautiful property here that's on the screen, we are going to put what I'm calling together a 90-day plan. Because it's in the middle of the art district, we're going to be adding all kinds of art on the building, and we're going to be able to showcase what the district has already halfway kind of brought together in terms of this building, and we're going to bring it to the last level to incorporate some of the features on the screen here. We're going to be able to invest right in the center of the downtown city of Hamilton. And through that 90 days of change, we're going to be able to really make this building shine. It's in a phenomenal location and it's ready for it. In terms of what we're going to do in asset management, we're going to expand the patio. Mulberry Cafe is one of the top independent coffee shops in the city, very well located. It has a great patio. However, we are going to be able to expand the seating by approximately 25 to 50%. In addition to that, we're going to recapture some misused space on the second and third floor to add a couple art stalls and art pitches that we're going to be able to have inside of the building upstairs to create some more units. This is an irreplaceable building. We're about to engage in this 9-day plan, which is going to help create everything that we see here. The first picture you see is a super crawl. The second picture is the biggest night in super crawl. The third picture here is the Mulberry Cafe on the main floor. Absolute stunning picture. A lot of the old elements of this 100-year-old building are kept, and it's a great place to be in. The bottom left picture here is some art that we've done with Lester Coloma, who's in this building in one of the units. Was award-winning in the bottom left there. That's another one of our buildings. We're going to incorporate a similar mural and design on here. The next picture is a partnership we have with Eon Film Studios. We believe in knowledge economy. We believe in the film industry. So we partnered with the biggest film studio in Hamilton. And there's another art picture. And then on the bottom right is a Tesla mural we've also done with Lester Coloma on a building at 400 Wellington Street North. So please consider this investment. It's an irreplaceable building. It's Hamilton's decade, in my opinion. And the creative industry is going to drive that. And this building is right in the center of it. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks for the pitch, Joe. I'm definitely with you there. I used to live near Hamilton, so I know it's kind of a vibrant and exciting place. But I think you're actually ahead of the curve in identifying the real estate potential there, because you've been looking into it since 2008. So can you talk me through a little bit what stood out to you back then and how things have changed since 2008 on the Hamilton side of things?
For sure. And as you point out, totally was very early in 2008. Just walking down the streets, being on the younger side, people would question why I wouldn't go to nearby Kitchener-Waterloo or Toronto, where there was obvious growth. What happened back then, in my view, is very interesting. Because it was a city that had so much prosperity and, the 80s and 90s were very tough on it. I would say almost half of people in the neighborhoods didn't really believe in their city and didn't really believe in their neighborhoods, which was something that was really interesting to me that struck me right away. And it wasn't until about 5 years later, maybe 2015, that's when I really think that Hamilton took off, because everyone started believing in their city. Everyone started believing in Hamilton. Hamiltonians who had left were coming back. People who were in the neighborhood were cleaning up and painting and fixing their houses. And it's amazing how fast it happened. But it doesn't surprise me. It's in such a great geographic location. There's a reason why it was so prosperous 100 years ago. And yeah, manufacturing was a key part of why it went down a little bit. But that's just a short, brief period of time in its history. It's going to rocket in the next decade.
Oh, I'm with you on that one. I guess one thing that kind of comes up probably in every virtual discussion or sort of thing, like this is a bit cliche, but how's the pandemic affected things? Do you see people moving a little bit away from Hamilton and wanting to be around the city and going in for their things that they need? Or has it grown more as people move away from, say, Toronto, for example?
Yeah, I think everyone's heard this thing before where this has just sped up trends. And I think, the last year was an opportunity just to reevaluate your life, look at what's going on in the world and in your region. And a lot of people have figured out that, yes, Hamilton is a fantastic place to be. The quality of life, what you get your bang for your buck, the 100 waterfalls, the harbor front, the better weather, right beside wine region. It's a very high quality of life, and I think that this building and the knowledge economy is just going to take it in the next decade, and it's not going to look back.
And talk to me a bit more about the Mulberry building itself. I mean, it has a really rich history, and it's been lots of different things, and it's over 100 years old, which is amazing. But what's your favorite thing about its past, and why?
It's maybe one of the most colorful buildings in the city. It's right across the street from the Armory, which was the biggest armory at the time. So, lots of young men through that building for the 100 years. It was also close to some rum running and the bay where the harbor is. So lots of people mixed in this area at the time. It was a hotel. So you can imagine, the people who stayed and all the activity was there, all the way from, rooms that, it turned into a pretty notorious hotel for a while there. So when the previous owners changed this over to these artistic lofts, these creative lofts for the knowledge economy, I thought, like, what a perfect thing. This has always been the center of the culture in the area. And over time, it continues to be for the future, which I believe is creatives, the film district, and the knowledge economy all coming together in this one building. And it has one of the best coffee shops around right on the main floor as well to further mix with people. So I would just say tons of people from all interesting backgrounds right here in this area over its whole history.
Yes, indeed. And obviously, what we're talking about today is this project you're working on with the Mulberry building. But Forge&Foster itself, you have a hugely successful track record, and I've no doubt you're going to succeed with this one as well. And I'm sure a lot of that's down to your team. So can you tell me a little bit more about who's in the team and what they do within Forge&Foster?
Totally. So yeah, we have we're very grateful to have a board of directors now, board of advisors to help us steer what that is, including Wenzel Hoberg, who spent time all around the world in investment management, including CPPIB, working in Europe. We have Alex Manovlich, which is our head researcher. Very fortunate to be working with him. I mentioned it before, but we're a research-first organization. It's very difficult to work in markets or asset classes that are not growing. Hamilton's definitely growing, and through Alex's research, it gives us a lot of confidence to know that we have the most cranes, or we have the most the smartest and best immigrants coming from the world. So it gives us a lot of background to have the confidence to invest. And then the other thing that I think is really important is the 90 days of change. So happy to have my partners, Dane Kirstens and Ben Ames, work on me with that, just to make sure that the biggest, concern I have in real estate is when there's no movement on a building. So we really make it a priority to have these 90 days of change.
And tell me the same question I ask everyone as well. What would you like to say to the people tuning in today? Why should they make an investment in Forge&Foster, and specifically this project with the Mulberry building?
Yeah, so I'm tired of real estate which just falls through private hands, only given to the 1%. The star opportunities are not given. So we were thrilled to showcase this building. It's so obvious how beautiful it is, and it's in the middle of a vibrant area which is about to expand. And all of our research is indicating that there is a good reason for growth. We've got a great 90-day plan here, which is going to incorporate all the elements of the knowledge economy. And we think that this is a great way to democratize real estate, which is something I think has to happen sooner rather than later. And I thank FrontFundr for making that happen and making it easier for us to do it, because we see this as only the start of a decade of democratizing of real estate.
Joe, thank you so much for your presentation. I'm really excited to see what happens with the Mulberry building as well. And yeah, have a great day. Thank you very much. We're going to hand over to Samir from ChaiEasy now. So Samir, when you're ready, let's go with the presentation.
My name is Samir Sahu, and I'm the co-founder of ChaiEasy. We are bringing to market the world's first automatic chai maker, so every one of you can enjoy a good cup of chai. Some of you may know that chai is an iconic time-tested beverage coming from the subcontinent where I myself come from. I've been grown up drinking chai. It's part of life. It's basically everyday thing you find in the streets, you find in cafes, restaurants, and now from the subcontinent, it has started to grow roots and becoming popular across the world, loved by millions around the world. But preparing chai is quite time consuming, messy, and it requires a lot of post-prep cleaning. With busier and busier lifestyles, unfortunately, people are unable to make a good cup of chai and enjoy it. But it doesn't have to be so. Now, let me talk a little bit about some of the pain points. Basically, you have to boil milk to make chai, which means there is a risk of milk spillover. And after you prepare a good cup of chai, you have stained vessels that are not dishwasher friendly. You have to use some real muscle power to clean those. And it's also quite time consuming and not convenient, very involved process. If you have someone who has made a cup of chai, please thank them because they put in a lot of effort to make that. But it doesn't have to be that painful. We are introducing ChaiEasy, which is basically chai made easy. We can bring you the same authentic homemade chai test, freshly prepared to your homes, to your kitchens with the touch of a button. It's real chai, real taste, and freshly brewed with organic ingredients. And that's why you can now enjoy chai without having to go through all the hassles. We have a very strong team and a dedicated group of passionate chai connoisseurs who have worked really hard to come up with this technology and help bring that chai experience to everyone around the world. I myself have 15 plus years of experience in product innovation, engineering, design, product management, business management, have managed a portfolio of a breadth of products in Fortune 500 companies, both in US and Canada. My business partner, Bhavish Bhatia, he has also got 15 plus years of experience in product development, management, global supply chains in G50 corporations. Our chief commercial officer, Amit Tabrai, is an award-winning creative director with broad range of experience in commercial creations, ads, CPG products, marketing, and branding. And together, we also have put together a very strong team of advisors. You can see our profile on FrontFundr. The advisors have experience ranging from CPG, sales, manufacturing to marketing. As a company, we've been in operation for 3 years. We're based out of Toronto, Canada. And the ChaiEasy brewer that you saw is our flagship product, but we also have a proprietary and assorted blends of different chai flavors from the most exciting tea gardens, and we also have a wide range of accessories. Chai market is predominantly untapped. It is huge. There are 3 billion cups consumed daily. It is the world's most popular beverage. Just in terms of North America alone, there are, in conservative terms, at least 12 million potential customers in North America. India, which is a secondary market, even conservatively speaking, it's 50 plus million potential customers. The market size is 6.4 billion, growing at 10% over the next 5 years. These numbers that you see are very conservative projections, looking at 4,000 machines, and one machine can generate at least 400 pods in annual recurring revenue. So you're looking at 1.6 million pods being sold. That's over $1 million in sales, which is very conservative, and very, very rapidly, as we have an installed base of machines, we basically can ramp up the revenues on the pod side. We've come a long way. There's a lot of research, innovation, and a lot of hard work that goes into the machine. It's a patent pending technology in at least 5 countries: US, Canada, UK, India, and Australia. We have raised 330% to our goal on Kickstarter. We've come on Dragon's Den. You can see episode 15, season 10. And right now we are in manufacturing readiness stage. We have raised ourselves through our friends, family, and network close to $300,000 and are ready to launch in Q1 of 2022. We're already in discussions with Costco, and on the digital marketing side, we have a reach of 1+ million on social media. As I said, we are really looking for FrontFundr as a platform to have community investment. A lot of people who pre-ordered the machine on our website and on Kickstarter have expressed interest to invest in ChaiEasy. And we said this would be a fantastic platform to give that opportunity to our community of chai lovers, people who have trusted us with our machine, and basically take this business to the next level. So with that, I strongly urge you to check us out on FrontFundr. If you have any questions, please reach out to us on the platform or to me directly at samir@ChaiEasy.com.
Thanks a lot for the pitch, Samir. Some very interesting stuff you have going on there, indeed. You mentioned this, in your presentation. You've been pretty active when it comes to raising funds. You've been on Dragon's Den. You've been on Kickstarter. Can you talk me through a little bit more how those campaigns went? You said the Kickstarter one was very popular. How did it go on Dragon's Den, and what made you decide to do a campaign on FrontFundr?
Yes, so Dragon's Den was very highly appreciated, and a lot of people saw it. We got a lot of spike in terms of both users, pre-orders, subscribers, and followers on social media platforms as well as our website. We closed a deal with Manjeet, and then with FrontFundr, basically we're looking at an opportunity for community investors and retail investors who invest in smaller dollar amounts to give them an opportunity to invest. We already have the cash to actually manufacture the product and bring it to market, but this is an additional cash which one gives community ownership, but also gives us some extra cushion for marketing and sales push.
And when we were planning this event, obviously one of the crucial things about a company is a team, and you obviously have a very experienced and seasoned team. We were discussing how the three ChaiEasy co-founders met, and I think it's a pretty interesting and unusual story, to my mind at least. So can you tell me a little bit more about how you all came together and how ChaiEasy came into existence?
Yeah, it's quite an interesting journey. Myself and Bhavish, we were very good friends. We were both students at an MBA school in Purdue in US, where we basically, the first time we came to North America, that's when we met. We both studied in the MBA program, and we became very good friends. We were both chai connoisseurs and entrepreneurial minded. Together, we realized the problem simultaneously. We were both thinking in parallel about doing something about making chai easy. And we both worked together for 4 years, building the first several prototypes ourselves, and then hiring a design company and bringing in engineers and going through that whole process of product development. It has been a fun journey. We've done countless tests of our own, buying components from Amazon, Alibaba, Canadian Tire, and just breaking things, making things, and getting to that stage. Amit is also a very good friend of mine, and he and I are also neighbors. We basically, when we are close enough to say that, okay, this is now ready to take off, he basically said, okay, I'm going to take on the marketing side, the branding side, the whole image building side of the company, and he's done a fantastic job of taking the company from a level of my basement to something that can come to millions of people's kitchens.
And are there any other chai makers on the market, and how does ChaiEasy compare to those?
Yes, good question. You can see thousands and thousands of coffee machines, but there is actually, to be honest, just one other chai machine that's truly a chai machine. And it's also a startup company out of California. The name of the company is Brew Chime. They have a machine that they're also selling right now through their website. We have actually tested their machine too. It's the fundamental difference is they're basically brewing it more like an English tea approach. Essentially, they're brewing the tea in water separately, and then they're adding the milk afterwards. In addition to that, we found that it's it's a little more expensive than us, but also it requires a lot of cleaning after you prepare a cup of chai. There are like at least 3 or 4 different parts you have to dishwash after every single cycle. We, on the other hand, have made it in a way that there is very little work after you prepare a cup of chai. It's virtually nothing. The machine has its own self-cleaning cycles, and with touch of a button, everything gets cleaned, and it's no hassle. You have your own cup of chai. You want 5 cups, 6 cups. Don't worry about dishwashing.
Sounds delicious. I like it. Final question from me before we wrap up and move on to the next pitch is the usual one is, what would you say to people tuning in today? Why should they make an investment in ChaiEasy?
I would say chai is already the world's most popular drink, and a lot of people are catching up. And it's a growing trend among millennials, among people who are looking for alternative drinks, exotic blends. This is basically a way to become part of that community of chai lovers. Essentially, you can enjoy blends from across the world. Once you have the machine, you can have it in your kitchen on your fingertips. The entire world's chai blends are in your kitchen countertop. The machine is just the beginning. It's an enabler, and we are building not just a new product, an entire new product category. Sorry, John, can't hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. Thanks very much for your time, and really enjoyed learning a bit more about ChaiEasy as well.
Thank you so much, John. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Fantastic. Okay, so now we're going to jump over to Kyle from Hitch Brewing, who's going to tell us about the mash. So Kyle, when you're ready, take us away with your presentation.
You betcha. Let me just get this thing so open up here. I know. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to chat here, John. Appreciate being able to sit in front of a bunch of very friendly people. So I'm Kyle Heyer. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Hitch Brewing Company. We've been on operations for almost 5 years, manufacturing craft beer within Alberta. Year over year, we've done well. We've increased sales. We've garnered a significant market share despite the rising in competition. So if you're familiar with the craft industry, let's say in North America in general, it's spiked across North America, and Alberta is no different than that. So, which leads us kind of to where we've been looking for growth through vertical integration. So Hitch has been brewing award-winning beer, most notably the Farmer's Daughter Papa Bear Prairie Ale, and we've been in over 900 plus locations throughout Alberta. As a family, we're a family business, so there's been a lot of entrepreneurial success within. I had the opportunity and blessing to work with my dad and a few of them. Trinidad Drilling, if you're familiar with oil and gas in Canada, he founded that one. But now as a business, we've gone through some pretty significant steps to make sure that we could expand exponentially. We have the equipment to brew anywhere between 800,000 to a million liters per year, and we have the opportunity to quickly expand into additional space as well. Now, as far as our pizza side of things, now we figured the best step forward as far as growth. We looked at the full scale restaurant model, and it was a little bit left wanting. And so when we were in the growth phase, we looked at small scale and very efficient model to grow with. And so the biggest problem that we were facing in Alberta was increased competition. We went from 10 microbreweries over the span of about 5 years, 10 microbreweries at the beginning, and then over the span of about 5 years moved up to about 100 to 130 microbreweries. And so the competition grew exponentially, but unfortunately the space to sell that product did not grow to that same capacity. So to the same effect, we were producing a byproduct called the brewer's spent grain that we didn't have too many issues trying to find a home for it. We were working with a lot of farmers in the area, but we always knew that it had a lot of nutritional benefits and a very strong profile to use. So that led us into our next growth, next and current growth through vertical integration of the mash. So we branded the mash craft beer, craft pizza, and the reason why we branded it as such is to move it away from what we offer through Hitch Brewing Company, because we do have our restaurant in Cochrane where our brewery is located. So the mash growth model is based around low operational cost, low capital requirements, and building culture. And so the reason why we went with the low, the low square footage and low cost, side of things was because we were so very much focused on takeout and delivery. We have the ability to deliver beer with our food, and so we took advantage of that. We developed our own in-house system and for delivery, so that we weren't relying specifically on skip the dishes, Uber Eats, and so on. And then to the same effect, we were looking into the nutritional profile of our spent grain. So for us, the beer and pizza was a perfect marriage. We wanted to really showcase our beer first, and then just so happens that when we used our spent grains in the pizza, it was a very serendipitous effect in that we are actually producing a very sought after product. So when we opened up our first location in Airdrie, Alberta, we sold about 350 pizzas by 3 o'clock. You know, as a family, we were all scrambling to try and find ingredients, you know, running to superstore to buy cheese, whatever we could do to get products to meet the demand just for that day. So it was a very humbling experience. And so we continue to look further into the grain profile. So we find that it is a very high protein and fiber ingredient and very low in sugar, being, you know, the fact that during the brewing process, we remove the majority of the sugar from the grains. So we're continuously looking for new ways to use the spent grains in new menu offerings and things like that. So currently, our expansion, we're in 3 locations operating right now. One in Airdrie, Alberta, that was our first. And then the second one was in Kensington, which is just outside of downtown Calgary. Third one we just opened a couple months ago in Mahogany, which is a southeast community, and in Calgary as well. And we're about to open up our our 4th and 5th locations, one in St. Albert and one in Calgary. Now, as far as what we have in front of us, as you can see, kind of a little histogram, what we have in front of us after the St. Albert and Legacy location is another 5 locations that we look to get operating by the end of 2021. And then into 2022, we already have some fairly prolific locations signed up and ready to get go underway under construction. And so basically what we're looking for investment for is to create I guess just putting the growth strategy on hyperdrive. You know, as a family, we now have entrepreneurs. We're very much about aggressive growth, and we want to bring in a community investment to take part in that. It's always nice to be able to share success with others. So as part of our this growth opportunity, we'd like to thank you, for your time, and we just look forward to being able to bring you on as a part of our journey, and hopefully at one point when all the restrictions are lifted, be able to sit down with some of our investors and treat them like family and enjoy some beer and pizza together.
Thank you very much for the pitch, Kyle, and those pictures have made me hungry. I know we spoke about this before, but those pizzas look tasty. Wow.
It is hard to stay away from, that's for sure.
You can't do that to me in the early afternoon. One question that I'm really intrigued to learn a little bit more about is the mash. You mentioned that one of the challenges you had was kind of this usable byproduct that actually no one was using, and it's going to a landfill, but it's actually pretty nutritious. So can you tell me a little bit more about how you hit on the idea of reusing it? I mean, was it, again, like a sort of a eureka moment where you were thinking about something else and it's just kind of a switch? Or was it many years of kind of observation, thinking about it, and it all came together as one? So I suppose, was it a happy accident or more something calculated and progressive you worked towards?
I guess the happy accident was more on the side of the fact that it is highly nutritious and robust in proteins. We've been actually working with spent grains since we opened the brewery back in 2016. Our mom in this process, Lisa, she's always been happy to bake for us as a family, and she's always been using it to create like pigs in a blanket and things like that. So we always had an inclination to want to use it. But when we started brewing beer and the market the way that it was, the focus just had to shift on getting your beer to market, right? Because there was, in Alberta alone, there's about 7,000 licensees between retail, restaurants and so on. You want to make sure you got your market share. And so there are some things that have to take a back step, get put on the back burner when you're focusing heavily on some other things. But realistically, like I said, as part of the growth, we have a restaurant at the brewery. And when we were looking for growth, we looked at the full scale restaurant side of things. It wasn't something that it was sort of left wanting. And so when we were developing the mash model, we said, well, we need to make use of these spent grains. We know that it's good. So let's start dabbling and see what we can come up with here. And so obviously beer and pizza there was no question that we were going to walk into the beer and pizza, marriage, but it was really how to best utilize the grains, because we find that the most difficulty people have with using them is just storing them. They don't keep well for very long if you don't store it properly. And so we've gotten that down pat, and we continue to work on different methods to extend the life of it, and so we can use it on different products.
Beer and pizza are definitely two magical words that are made to go together. I'm with you on that one.
For sure.
Has anyone else tried this before? Are other people doing it in different places, maybe in different ways? Or are you, as far as you know, the only people that are kind of recycling the spent grain in this way?
There are some small scale, outfits that are using it. When we had come out of the gates with the mash, there were a few articles written about our process and a few media outlets that were reaching out. They were including some of the other ones that they spoke to. So they're like smaller outfits using it for cookies and other baking items and things that you would sort of expect, which is great because there's, like one of the things that we talked about with the spent grains side of things was it is very, it reduces the stress on other, protein rich resources such as like quinoa and things like that. And it's readily available. When we brew, we're brewing about a metric ton worth of spent grains. So yeah, you want to be able to use as much as possible, but thankfully we work with a program now with farmers to make sure it doesn't go to waste. But I think there's a lot of merit. It should catch on, but realistically, we're going to make sure that we continue to develop and utilize it as a main focus.
Another thing that I love about the whole Half Hitch Brewing and the mash story is kind of how it came about, because from talking to you and studying a campaign page, although you all had experience in other areas of business, I don't think anyone had experience of brewing beforehand. And
That's right.
It's kind of clear that you have this DIY ethos to just learning and getting stuff done. And I know you and I were talking about how permits can be a bit of a headache, but you just get on with it and done it. What's been the most difficult thing to learn being new to this industry or area?
Well, I think as an entrepreneur, and I think everybody else in this process is, the hardest thing to learn is the hard way. As an entrepreneur, you really want to learn as much as you can so that you can accomplish things from that DIY perspective, right? Because realistically, that's the easiest way that you can keep things within your own grasp. It's cost efficient. It goes back to the old adage: if you want it done right, do it yourself. So that's sort of the entrepreneurial spirit, in a handbasket. But when we were going through this process of trying to figure out what we're going to do as a family business, I credit my brother Chris. He's an entrepreneur at spirit as well. And when we were talking about doing a microbrewery, nobody knew anything about brewing beer whatsoever. And within the period of 2 years, he brewed about 100 different recipes on a home brew scale. And the recipes that we use currently, whether the Farmer's Daughter, Fire and Fury, Papa Bear, whichever, they've all gone through a process of essentially whether it's like voting or people's favorite or whatever. So that learning process gave birth to a whole other different level of success as well. And then you open your doors and you've already got a well received product. So it was good, but you're right. It is a DIY thing, but you learn a lot throughout the process. Like I said, we've approached a couple different growth strategies. The full scale restaurant was one, and now we're into the mash, and it's proven successful, and we're just going to keep moving forward with this a highly repeatable model.
Oh, absolutely. And there's no blueprint for these types of things, right? And I guess especially with how things have gone in the last 18 months, this was unprecedented. So you just kind of have to learn by doing, and you're clearly doing that exceedingly well, which is great to see. I guess to wrap up, my final question is the classic kind of the sign off one. What would you say to everyone on the call today? Why should they invest in Half Hitch?
The easiest way to put it is the hard work has been done. We've, as a family, we put a lot of money into the brewing side of things. We put a lot of money into the property that we own in Cochrane and the manufacturing side of things. So we are now going into the process where the highly repeatable and the biggest rate of return is, we're on the horizon of that versus the hard part where you're just getting that market share and so on and so forth. So, now that we're, like I said, by the end of this year, we'll be in 10 locations for the mash. And then by the end of next year, we'll have more on top of that. It's kind of your opportune time to get in what I would consider at a discounted rate, considering where we'd be at the end of the year from a valuation perspective.
100%. Well, thank you very much for your time and for sharing the story, Kyle. I know you're going to smash it on FrontFundr as well. So look forward to seeing more great things from you in the future as well.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Fantastic, thank you. And now last but certainly not least, we're going to hand over to Elad, who's going to tell us about Cannibble. So whenever you're ready, get us started with the presentation.
Hi everybody, my name is Elad. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Cannibble. Cannibble is an Israeli food tech company. We are developing and manufacturing food products enhanced with active materials of cannabinoids from active materials of cannabis. We have developed like 100 unique formulation until now, and we are currently selling in the US market. Our team have more than 30 years of experience in the food industry, and we are expert in building brands and building products and production lines. Until now, we raised around $3 million US, some with the equity fundraising and some with the bigger investments. And we are currently selling, as I said. So the picture that you see here, the product are actual products. It's not any demos or nothing else. That's not mock-ups, that's actual product. And I think that next month, we're going to start producing our THC line. So basically, meet the Pelican. The Pelican is our brand. And we have 3 different product categories. We have the green ones that infused with the hemp seed oil and hemp protein. So that's basically targeted the better for you segment. So it's product with high protein levels, and they have from the seeds oil, basically you have omega-3, 6, and 9, and a lot of other health benefits. In these products, we also make keto friendly product, sugar-free, with a low carbs. And the pink one is the CBD infused product that sells currently in most of the US states. And we have plans and actually signed an agreement lately with a Canadian company to start manufacture and sell also in Canada. Currently, we are manufacturing the CBD products in Florida and in a nutraceutical facility, FDA approved. And we are selling them also in Vegas, in a few dispensaries there. And you see the blue line, that's the new one. It's going to start produce in a month or so. That's infused with THC. So we're going to sell it in the recreational countries, states. And that's our product families. We have the kind of shakes. So basically all our first generation product are powders. As you can see, we have the kind of mix, that's cake pop mix. You have a cupcake mix, just make in 1 minute in your microwave. We have the pancake mix. Everything is with easy preparation, 1 minute and you can consume it. We have the kind of shakes. We have also a chai mix, a very, very nice chai mix. We have iced coffees, either hot, cold. We have different kind of shakes. We have the kind of spices. So we have a salad seasoning that infused with CBD, very calming one, very healthy one. But from the other side, you have a pizza spice infused with THC. So basically every pizza turns out to a pizza party. You can take it with you, nobody notices it, and it changed completely the way you enjoy your food. We have the kind of shake sports, so that's basically to the athletes, segment. So it enhances with CBD and hemp seeds, oil and protein to get all the benefits from them. And we have the kind of pop, so that's basically a microwave popcorn. Our intellectual property. So basically, we have a patent pending on a method for mixing powders with different particle size with equal spread for active materials. And this is solving a huge, huge problem in the industry, because basically when you buy a product with CBD or THC, basically you don't know what is the real level of active ingredient inside. With our patent pending technology, we know exactly what is the amount. We can exactly say what is the amount, and we are doing it not in a 5 kilo batches as most of the people. We can do it in a 500 kilo batches, in a 1 ton kilo batches. As I said, of us from the food industry, we know how to produce food, we know how to work with the FDA regulations, and we know how to make technology. Basically, other part of our technology is flavor masking. I don't know if a lot of you tried edibles, but basically the flavor is not so good because the cannabis flavor, either CBD or THC, is not something that you use to consume in food. But with our technology, and I call it basically edible 2.0, because first generation of product in the market, they took chocolate, they took gummies, sprayed outside like oil, either THC or CBD, and it was bitter, and it was basically not tasting good. But with our technology, it takes, the flavor is perfect because we know that people want to enjoy it at the end. And as the market is growing and a lot more segment of the consumer are adopting and trying edibles, flavor is a critical issue here. Our unique formulation, as we are coming for the food industry, is basically protected, same as Coca-Cola doing. We basically divided the production process between 3 locations, and we are manufacturing in Israel currently some kind of a black box that contains all the secrets, all the small ingredients that make our products so flavorful and so texture-wise perfect. And with this method, basically we control that no one can know the full process of production. And from the other side, we know exactly how many units can be produced from 1 kilo of black box. In our team, as I said, we have Yoav. He's the co-founder also and the CEO. He was also coming from the food industry. Myself, and I'm also a chef in my education. And we have Mr. Ziv Turner. He got 7 years of experience in the cannabis industry. This is his 3rd or 4th company. Ori is our CFO. And that's it basically.
Thanks for the presentation, Elad. It's very interesting indeed what you're up to as well. I guess you have some really interesting and exciting packaging with your products there. And one thing I wanted to ask about is I think you have over 100 products. Can you break that number down a little bit for me? So what are the different types of products within that 100? Which ones are the most popular? And are you planning to add more anytime soon?
So first of all, we are adding more. That's also we're doing in-house development for everything. So first 100 formulation was powder product, is divided between drinks and desserts, spices, and protein drinks, and after workout drinks, and all kind of shakes. But always we are adding new products and new technologies, as our goal is to basically introduce to the cannabis world every year a new line of product. I can tell you that I just finished the new line, and it's not powders. I cannot tell you what it is at the moment. Usually we are doing it at the MJBs in Vegas. We are showing the new product, but it's completely not powders. It's something very unique that you cannot see in the cannabis industry, that is very, controlled by gummies or chocolate, some cookies, and that's it. We are doing all the opposite. We are not doing me too. We're doing only new and interesting product.
Yeah, it's definitely, I look forward to hearing more about those products and kind of how you're going to shake it up as well.
You should try them also, not look forward.
I'll add that to my to-do list. Another thing I wanted to ask you about is you've previously run crowdfunding campaigns in Israel, I think, and you raised quite an impressive amount, over $1.5 million USD from over 1,500 investors. So talk me through a little bit what the secret was to your success. Why did that campaign go so well? Why are you launching a campaign in Canada now, and what do you hope to achieve?
First of all, let me fix you a little bit. Fix that. We have more than 1,600 investors, and we have almost $3 million already that was invested in the company. I think that people like, first of all, to be a part of a new industry, and to be a part of a company that has such a strong team and such unique abilities in developing new products and building brands. Think about it, in the first equity round, basically, we didn't have the brand, not the packaging. It was an idea. And people saw it was less than a year it took us to build the brand, the design, to formulate all the products, to do all the checking that needs to be done. and to build the production line. And people saw that we are actually, we're saying and we are doing what we are saying, and people like it because they know they can trust us. So the one thing that we notice that with time, the investment start to be higher amounts. So currently we have investors from $500 to $100,000 or even more. And people like it. People like that the company is transparent, they can know everything, they can see everything. And basically, not as, most of the market, most of the cannabis are talking in the future. They're going to start selling, they're going to start producing. We are selling, we are producing, and we are in the game now, not in the future.
I think you're right that execution is key. You say you're going to do something, you deliver on it, people see it, it builds a lot of trust and confidence. Another thing that stood out to me is, I think if I'm not wrong, is it right that around about 70% of your customer base is female? Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that normal for this type of product? And if not, why do you think it's so high?
That is the market for this kind of product, healthy product, and enhanced with all the benefits, nature benefits from the cannabis. But I do think that in time, when we start selling the THC product, there's going to be change. Better for you segment controlled by women always. They are the target audience for that. CBD is half and half, and THC is mainly men. So in time, I think it's going to change. But for now, we know that a lot of women are, enjoying our product, and that's work for them. So telling their friends, and I see that it's going and going.
One more question from me to wrap up is, what would you say to people that are tuning in today? Why should they make an investment in Cannibble through FrontFundr?
First of all, we are a huge family. We have more than 1,600 investors. Join our family. Join our strong team. As I mentioned before or not, we are aiming to do a listing in the CSE soon. So I think that this will be the last, let's say, opportunity to join before the big valuation jump. And I really think that's the exact point in time to join such a new and developing market. Just exciting, it's fun basically.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you very much for the pitch and for telling us the Cannibble story. And I really enjoyed hearing about that as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, I'm afraid that's all we have time for today. But if you'd like to find out more about any of these companies, you can, of course, head on over to our website and view each of their individual campaign pages. We will also be sending a follow-up email in the next few days with additional information on all of the companies too. I'd like to say a huge thank you to Jerry, to Joe, to Samir, to Kyle, and to Elad for taking part in Pitch Perfect. And of course, to all of you at home for tuning in as well. We want you to stay safe, stay healthy, and have a great week ahead. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody. Bye.